Hey guys, it's another episode of GameHammer Dailies. Today we're going to space, the final frontier, where we have the Eye of the Tiger. Tiger Electronics are one of those companies that everyone in gaming has come across at some point, but which none of us can understand how they managed to stay in business for so long. Back in the 1970s and the early 1980s, it was understandable, perhaps even a little bit cool, to have an LCD game that you could carry around with you. It was portable gaming in a time when portable gaming otherwise wasn't going to be available. But Tiger weren't limited to the early era of gaming. They persisted until 2012. How? Mostly by licensing properties from other companies that were popular and commercially successful at the time, and then making a cheap cash-in game about them. Oh, and Furbies. Can't forget the Furbies. Back when I was a kid, a few of my friends had one or two Tiger LCD games knocking about the place as we grew up. I never had one. My LCD game, because come on, we all had one, didn't we, was from Konami. It was the first of the two Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles LCD games, or at least I think it was the first one I ever saw, and it was the one where you have to swim down into the sewer to defuse a bomb, or something like that. I played it to death, literally. It eventually broke from overuse, but I never really understood fully what I was supposed to be doing. So, Tiger weren't alone in making this stuff, but they certainly were one of the most prolific, and their range of titles was surprising. Today we're going to be taking a look at Star Trek The Next Generation, an LCD game that appears to have had two incarnations, one in 1988 and one in 1993. I've got the 1988 version here according to the text on the back of the unit, but after checking online it seems that both versions are exactly the same game, so if you're interested in getting one for your collection, it doesn't seem to matter which version you pick up. The game is very simple. You navigate the Enterprise D through an asteroid field en route to somewhere. You do this by pressing the left and right buttons on the left-hand control. I'm not sure where you're going, and to be honest it's probably not important. There's a planet at the back of the display, but you'll never get there, so it could be anywhere, and I don't have any instructions because I bought this game second-hand and it didn't come with a packaging, so I can't tell you the backstory. It won't matter, the game is playable without knowing the backstory, so don't worry about it. Anyway, the Romulans aren't happy about you going to wherever you're going, and they'll send Diderdex-class ships to stop you, and that's really hard to say. You can fire at these ships and destroy them for extra points, so that's pretty cool. You fire your phasers by pressing the upper of the two controls on the right of the machine. The lower control gives you a speed boost if you hold it down for a second or two, but don't rely on this because it will drain your ship's energy, and if you're going fast in a densely packed area of asteroids, you're far more likely to crash, which also reduces your energy. The left-hand control has two additional functions besides navigation, shields and transporter. I have not been able to work out what the transporter actually does, but the shield button raises your shields, which can be useful at times, especially if there are too many asteroids around. If you're careful, you won't need this, however. Each game lasts for about 2 minutes unless you run out of energy, and you'll get a score at the end. The aim is essentially just to beat the high score. It's a very simple game, but I'll admit, it's reasonable enough fun for what it is, and it will pass the time if you've got nothing else to hand. Graphically, it's an impressive game. The line art is lovely, the Enterprise D looks brilliant, and the amount of detail is surprising. While I'll freely admit the Diderdex ship is far too small compared to how it looks on the show, where it dwarfs the Enterprise D because these things are seriously huge, guys. Why is it so small? It is also pretty well drawn once you get close enough to look at it. I did think it was a Defiant at first, however, because its compact drawing, especially when it's entering from either side of the screen, made it look like a Defiant-class ship. Don't make that mistake twice though, because it will shoot you if you let it. In terms of sound, there's nothing to write home about here. It's the standard blip blip bleep of the Tiger games, so even an Atari 2600 or a Type-In Spectrum game has a better sound than this. The controls are responsive though, so what it lacks in sound, it makes up for in terms of actually being able to play the thing. All in all, this is a standard Tiger Electronics LCD game. It's nothing you absolutely have to have in your collection unless you're a major Trekkie. But if you're into these things and you get a chance to give it a try, yeah, it's worth a couple of plays. But for everyone else, I wouldn't fuss over tracking one of these down. So there you go. It's It's a pretty simple game, to be honest with you. Bleep, bleep, bleep. It's an LCD game. There's not much you can say about it, but for what it is, it's okay for a couple of minutes. It's actually not too bad. I enjoyed playing it, and I think if you get a chance, go for it, but don't go out of your way to try and find it, because it's not that kind of game. But if you do get a chance, give it a try. You never know. You might have a few minutes fun. Okay, that's really all we've got time for today, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked this, and if you did, remember to click that like button. Share it with your friends so they'll know a good game, or in this case, just a kind of, not bad game, when they see it, and do subscribe for future videos, because there will be more in the future. But until next time, I've been Zoe Kirk-Robinson. You've been watching GameHammer Dailies, and I'll see you tomorrow.